Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. We are moving into the third part of our live optimization, and we're wanting to make sure that we're not having any technology issues. Please use the chat feature to check in. Normally we see a group of you waiting and we see interaction back and forth. We're not seeing any right now, and I want to make sure that you're able to get here and follow with us. Wait a second, there's Richard and there's Sean, and folks are beginning to log in. While you're logging in, I want to start with a message of hope. In case you don't know it, I'm being sarcastic. I'm going to ask our team to share with you a website. Apparently Blake Shelton, country singer, we're in the South, and he has vowed to grow back his mullet as a symbol of hope amid the coronavirus outbreak. Now, you might be offended with me starting with something of humor. I just feel like sometimes laughter in the face of a crisis is an appropriate response as opposed to sort of nihilistic depression. We certainly are taking it serious here. But in case you wonder what that might look like for Blake to grow back his mullet, we're going to scroll down the article and give you something to look forward to. There it is, the infamous mullet. And I think that while that may be of some hope, most of you will get a lot more hope by getting a higher conversion rate on your pages. So let's switch from Blake to a page that was submitted by somebody in our audience. Christy, good to see you. Blue Mars Media, we're glad you joined us, and Nancy also. And so I'd like to go to the first page we have queued up. If this is your first time with this, let me draw your attention from the page over to the board, and you'll see a heuristic that's been written. C equals 4M plus 3V plus 2I minus F minus 2A. M is motivation. And what you're seeing is a pattern that has been abstracted from 20,000 plus treatments and experiments. And in that pattern, we've isolated psychological elements that impact C. That is the probability of conversion. Motivation. The force of the value proposition. These are positive, and you'll see underneath this a fulcrum. These weigh the offer down in favor of perceived value. Incentive can do the same. Motivation is almost what they have as they come. So imagine V and I are on this side of the fulcrum, and I've taught this in so many ways, in so many places, and I'm just touching it lightly for now. If it's new to you, you can get resources. We have 10,000 free resources across our three brands, Marketing Sherpa, Marketing Experiments, and the science and power behind it, MECLABS. PV has perceived value, and this is using the force of your value proposition along with incentive to weight down in their mind the fulcrum that is the cognitive calculus that powers their decision to say yes. In this laboratory, we spent almost 30 years trying to answer one single question. Why do people say yes? Why did you say yes to join us today? Why did your boss say yes when you applied for the job? Why did you say yes to the job? And on the list goes. Now, on the perceived cost side, there are two critical psychological elements that can be very important, especially right now in what's going on in our society. That is incentive and anxiety. These two, if they're too heavy, will weight the fulcrum in the other direction, and the negatives will outweigh the positives. There's another way to think about it. If we assign the weight a numerical value, and we say perceived value for an offer or any type of action you're asking people to take on your side, if we give it a 5, let's say, but we say the negative psychological elements outweigh it, let's call it a 7, then what is 5 minus 7? It is a -2. And I can tell you right now that a -2 is not what you want to have. What it tells you is your conversion rate will be low. And because it's low, obviously you'll not prosper at this time. And you might say, well, why would anybody then say yes if it's a -2? Because the number 4 is in front of motivation, and that is the highest number up here. And why is that? Because if someone is motivated, maybe they've heard about you through a friend, maybe they have an urgent need, but for some reason their motivation is high. We've seen that recently. Can anybody think of an item right now that people would stand in line for this week that they would not have stood in line for 2 weeks ago? I heard recently, TP, said Don. You're absolutely right. In fact, we're talking about toilet paper. I read recently that there's a drive-through, I think it's a Chinese restaurant that is giving away toilet paper with every takeout order. And they've seen an increase. What's happened? Motivation is increased, and so we'll put up with friction. That's standing in line. We'll put up anxiety. That's being worried about catching the virus because we've got to have the toilet paper. Now, I have to tell you that 30 years of work in a research lab has not helped me understand at this point why people are hoarding toilet paper. But they are. And the reality is when motivation is high, it overcomes lots of problems in your process. We're seeing that today, and it's inverse. There are businesses that are thriving right now because of the crisis. Motivation is high. They may not have a good process, but people are still putting up with it. The danger is, for those of us dealing with lesser levels of motivation, we have to have a way through the storm. If you're just joining us and this is all new to you, please go to our site. As I mentioned, there are 10,000 articles. Get one on the conversion sequence. If you search that, we can also provide you with free resources. Just let us know you'd like to know, and we'll give you a package of resources that help you understand this. For now, I'm going to dive into a web page. And so let's look at a page submitted by a member of our audience. If you submitted the page, let us know. And there you have it. And you'll notice that our team has notated 4M plus 3V, that same conversion heuristic on this page. And we could take any one of those components. And by the way, if you are new, in fact, if you attended the last session, that is yesterday, we are sending out to you these notes. We're going to identify these problems. This is a diagnosis. There are ways we can help you with a prescription, but today's time together is to teach you and help you understand how to diagnose a page or essentially a message so you can discover what might be causing it to underperform. Once you know that, you can go back and prescribe a hypothesis to fix it, which is all that your doctor does, and it's all that your plumber does, and it's all that our scientists do. We diagnose, we develop a hypothesis as a prospective or potential solution, and then we test it. Okay? Now, that same process, and I mean this respectfully, is what has to happen as we try to find a vaccine or something to stop this sort of horror that's sweeping our globe. I'm not saying that I know the medical science. I don't. I'm just saying that this scientific process is pervasive everywhere, and diagnosis today can help you see where the problems are. So let's be very prescriptive. I want to point out that we're trying to do it better every time. So now we've got the analysis on the page, and we're going to start to identify problems. Let's focus on the top 4 inches of the page, and I want to test you. I see Don, and he has a suggestion first. Don will get that. I see Michael Thomas Berry, who wrote me a letter and who's on here again today. And I see Chris from, I think, Zimbabwe, and it's good to have you. Take a look. And by the way, as you come in, tell people where you're from. But take a look at the page, please, and let's just focus on one aspect of this page. Where is there friction or anxiety on the top of the page? We're not even talking about anything underneath it. We're just going to deal with the first 4 inches. Now, I want to say something while you're thinking about it. Imagine that you are meeting someone for the first time. If you have a bad impression in those first few moments, you may terminate any further opportunity. This happens all the time in a bar. It happens all the time when people are meeting each other. We draw tentative conclusions based on a scarce set of observations, and then we make decisions based on those conclusions. That's going to go on with this page right now. And there are some negatives here. I'm looking at your feedback. Dan, what's the first name? Or is that the right name? Tell me what to call you so I can do it properly. But she is in New Mexico, or he is in New Mexico. I think it's a she because I see a picture, but I'm not sure. Tell me so I don't get it wrong. Arlene, it's good to see you back. All right. Yes, you're right in your critique there, Dan. All right, take a look. Here is the Here is the custom software development and IT staff augmentation services. Tell me something. Where is friction on this page? Right here, just the top part with the image beneath it. Can anybody tell me? I'm going to give my audience 10 seconds. We're going to do this like a drive-by shooting. That's probably a terrible way to say it. My guys are laughing at me. We're going to speed through it, all right? 10. Give me your thoughts. Michael Thomas Berry, you're right. Orange text over an image is difficult to read. That is friction that causes resistance. 10, 9, keep coming. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now let me help you. As your notes are coming in, it's all about the company. That's right, like shoving your business card. Okay, someone says the home button interferes with a call to action. Okay, that's true, it does. That is a source of friction. Jordan says the title is self-descriptive. Yeah, it's not a headline, it's a title. That's really bad. And no clear offer. So let's just take this. Look on the page, you'll see already a team member has notated an F and an A. We're going to start to identify friction. Okay, the first friction you see is two heavily weighted options, home button and let's talk about it. That's friction. Let me give you another problem. What has happened when you click on let's talk about it? That's anxiety. See the let's talk about it in the top margin? I don't know what that means. Are you going to ask for my phone number when I click here? Are you going to give me a detailed or a long form? I don't understand what happens when I click on that button. Let's talk about it. Sounds conversational, but it's way too vague and I don't know what to expect. Nor do I have any reason yet to talk about it. I should be able to discover something about it on this page, but I can't. So let's talk about it is a source of friction. The home button, the way it is a source of friction. The let's talk about it down here and the let's talk about it up there have the same problem. Let's talk about another problem. You asked me to read this big, giant white over a picture that's way too strong in the background. Not only is it strong, but it's annoying Photoshop art. Now, I don't mean this to be hard. Yesterday, I was pretty hard. I went away and thought, wow, man, I was hammering people. Was I too harsh? I even wrote a letter to a couple of people and asked if I was. If you didn't catch it yesterday, you may not want to watch it because we were really hammering pages. But we're trying to find an answer to help people. I have great empathy for the person who submitted this page, and this is a tough environment, so I want to help you. But take a look and see that the biggest problem right now that's easy to see is you've got a meaningless stock art image that's actually making it hard to read the text. That's called friction. Now, in addition to that, and notate that friction, in addition to that, you have a set of words that are supposed to convey meaning in the form of a sentence. They have two jobs. Does anybody remember from teaching on this? What are the two things? I have all levels of experience joining us today. If you know what the first two jobs of a headline are, tell me what they are. It is first it must, what? Anybody remember? I know there's a slight delay between when you enter it and when I see it. Yes, all right. The first job of a headline is to capture attention. The second goal is to convert it to interest. Custom software development and IT staff augmentation services is a title. It is not a headline, but you have it on the page where the headline goes and it's not saying enough. Underneath it, you have text that's very difficult to read because of the image, and it says develop and maintain your software applications with the help of highly educated and experienced software engineers. Develop and maintain are vague words with no payoff. Your software applications are in the middle, so you start with what you want me to do, not with what I need and not with what I get, and you start with the work, not the outcome of the work. And it says with the help, now we have a prepositional phrase of highly educated. I don't know why that's important in this particular case. That's sort of table stakes. And experienced software engineers. It's a very vague claim. It's what everybody else would say, so it's not giving me any new meaning. And then we ask a question, and I mean this respectfully, but it's really a dumb question. Interested in how we can contribute to your project? That's why we came here. Of course we're interested, but we're not interested in you yet. We're interested in getting a project solved, but not in you, because you've not told me anything yet to convey your value proposition. Now I want to stop for a second, because we're going to move to another page, but I want to talk about the value prop. So we just talked about F and A. But the number 3 is in front of the V, and that's the most important thing here. And here's the reality of that. I don't know what your value proposition is because there is nothing on this page that communicates it. I hear let's say at the top of this page. And by the way, it's got to be in here somewhere. It's got to start at least to answer the question why I should work with you. In fact, for those of you new who haven't had the course, and we gave away 10 of these courses in the last day in scholarships. And more than that, by the way, I'm going to start to teach one of these courses online, live, with an audience, working back and forth. And I don't mean here on YouTube, I mean for students. Rather than the one-way sort of on-demand version, we're going to teach it with interactive assignments and work, help you build the skill that you need to develop it. That's coming. We're doing it because of the crisis. You'll hear more in a little bit. But take a look here. M, V. What is the answer to this question? See if you can find the page, on the page, the beginning of the answer. If I am the ideal customer, why should I purchase my services from you rather than XYZ, whatever the competitive options are? Let's put a because in front of anything we see on this page. Because we are a custom software development and IT staff augmentation service? No, because that means you are just one of many and I could hire any of them. Because we develop and maintain your software applications? So do they. Because we do it with the help of highly educated and experienced software engineers? Big deal. That's what they say, and that's probably true about many of them. Because what? You're interested in how we can contribute to your project? No, because does that drive in me the need now to talk to you about something? Absolutely not. So my thesis to everyone who's trying to learn from this is that the top of the page isn't doing really anything it's supposed to do. Now, lest that be disappointing to you, let me point out that we can take that page and we can fix those things, and man, you can see a big difference. I have to stop there, but we're going to submit these annotations and send it to you and talk about, get it in your hands so that you can think about what we've discussed now. And if you need more help, we can figure out something. By the way, this brings it up in my mind. We haven't announced it yet. This is audience I talk to, and I've been talking to you every day this week, so I'll say it before it's fully formed and really completely developed. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to make it possible for anybody that needs to get in our training or that needs help. Remember, we're a research institute. We're not a typical vendor, but we can help you create hypotheses and funnels and new products using our methodology. And we're going to take all of those things and help you regardless of your financial situation. If you need to stretch out payments or with no interest, we'll do anything we can. Those of you that may have talked to us in the past and asked for help, we're going to do the same thing with our courses. If you can't afford them all at once, we'll break them up into payments. We're going to make it possible, affordable for anybody so that you can learn, you can grow, and you can find a way to prosper in this tough time. All right, let's keep going. Here's another page. I want to move from this page. I'm sorry, but I don't believe this page can really be helped yet. It's so far off the mark that we would need to just completely start from scratch. There is introducing paragraph punch. It looks like I'm deep into your site already. It doesn't actually function in the role of a home page, and I may come back to it if I have time, but I'm trying to help a larger portion of my audience, so please don't be disappointed, but you really need to go to, and I'm going to suggest this to my staff. Everybody hear this. I've written a piece called The 21 Psychological Elements of a Page. It has a template and a design. It's on YouTube, and it's all free. We'll give it to you, and I'd say start with that, use that to get this page into some sort of zone, and then we can come back and try to help you some more, okay? Now, I'm looking at the next page. So take me, I know they're saving that one. You can take a moment, save that, and take me to a page that's come in. Staff's working really hard. Trying to do this in real time is quite a challenge. We've had to do a lot of work with the technology. Most of you probably know this, but we're actually broadcasting from my home. We've turned a room into a studio. We showed you pictures of it in the last couple of days. Take a look now. Here we go. Now, C equals 4M plus 3V plus 2I minus F minus 2A. Let's take the same heuristic and let's start with friction and anxiety. Now, listen, class, I think of you as a class. I think of you as a sort of a marketing family and friends, but let's work together. Let's learn together. When you see me, and I have to say this for people that are new, over here's my chat. Over here's the big pages. Right here's a camera. And unfortunately, right above that one is a picture of me looking right at myself. It's quite discouraging. And I thought I had more hair, but apparently I don't. I thought I was taller, but apparently I'm not. And so, I try to avoid looking at myself, but when I look over here, I can't look at the camera, and it looks like I'm looking off, but that's what I'm doing. Sarvi, Deanne, Chris, Don, all of you that are joining me today, listen, we want you to learn with us. We want you to grow with us. So rather than me just tell you right now, engage your mind quickly. Where is friction and anxiety at the top of this page? Someone tell me. And again, I'm going to give us a 10-second count. That'll give you a chance. And Don, the CTA copy is right. You're right about that. Keep coming. He's fast, by the way. All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Chris is coming in with, Linda's coming in with an idea. 3, 2, 1. Yes, I'm going to start with Jordan's last comment. The company logos are so confusing that you may not even know if you're on the right site. And I taught this yesterday, and I've mentioned it in other sessions. You have to answer 3 questions as soon as they get to the site. You have about 7 seconds, 4 inches. Somebody who's been learning, type in right now, what is the first question we have to answer? Am I in? And I'm watching to see you answer over here on the chat feature. Where am I? Chris says. That's correct. Am I in the right place? Where am I? So let's get that over here because the Templeman Company piece is difficult to read. It doesn't actually look like a logo, and it's not as dominant as the ones beneath it, which we're already familiar with. Phillips, Bard, Boston Scientific. At this point, you're wondering, wait a second, am I in the right place? Am I in one of those sites, or am I in some sort of association site? And I see Templeman with no idea what that is, no idea how it connects to those names, and no idea about your value proposition. Get custom springs for your medical device. Well, let's see. Let's put that to the test. How vague are those words? By the way, good to start with get. Nice job. We've done a lot of research on this. Start with what they get. You don't have to use the word get. It helps. You did good there. But get custom springs. Custom's pretty vague. It can mean a lot of things. Springs, my goodness. What springs are we talking about? There's springs in my car. There's springs in this remote. There's springs in that camera. My daughter wants to go diving in the Florida Springs, but I told her she can't because of this virus, and she's not happy about that. She's 16. There's springs everywhere. And then what? For your medical, let's look at the modifier. Medical. Medical could be, think how broad that term is. It's almost as broad as chemical. And then look at the word after it, device. Device is completely, again, vague also. Now, there is a picture of something there, and I'm sure that means something to someone. But it's just way too much work. It's too much unsupervised thinking. You're making it hard for me. You put this big thing in front of me, and it's all out of order. There's a confusing sort of I-sequence, I-path through this. I don't understand the logo. I don't know what the headline really means, but I love what you have underneath the word get. Put 81 years of manufacturing experiments to work for you. You're on the right track. But we've got to provide more context. We've got to get where those logos are and say more to me. Now, I have mentioned this last time, and I'll bring it up again because marketing is about establishing a relationship. It's not like that. And I've been married 33 years. And had I walked up to this girl the first time I met her and said to her, get an exceptional bachelor to spend the rest of your life with. Put to work 21 years of stellar growth. I don't think I'd have got very far, especially if I just stopped on that and waited for her to anticipate what I'm going to say next. And when nothing came next, I just waited on her to figure out who I was and what I stood for. This page should be the opening of a conversation. That headline should be connecting me into a dialogue below, and there's way too much white space with nothing happening. Now, go back down here. I like this. I'll bet you're a good company. A lot of good engineering companies have trouble with their marketing. I bet you that despite these weaknesses, you probably do good business with people who have experience and know your value proposition is powerful. The problem is the other people can't tell from this. And so let's stop here. Let's go back up to the top. I'd like to work on more, but I'm going to move to a new page. If you need help, we're going to send this to you. If you need help, reach out to us and we'll give you options for what you can do, okay? Let's go on to another page. Where were you back when I started? I just read Lynn's comment. I don't know, Lynn. I was in India the day before I met my wife, so it was sketchy. Let's keep going, all right? Healing Disaster Traumas and Fears. This is a 2-hour web event, join free. We're going to get our words on the top of this page too, and we're going to look at just friction and anxiety for a moment. I love to talk about value. We've been doing that a lot for the last couple of days, and so I'm going to move here. And I want to point out then, I think what I'm going to be doing in the future is doing these analyses and giving you a chance to get into a class where we can work on them together, or get you into an intensive where we can make a huge difference for you in the future, and make that possible regardless right now of sort of what's going on in the economy. I'm trying to figure out more ways to help. And I would invite everybody that's joining us, if you have ideas about what we can do together to make a difference, let me know, okay? And I want to focus right here for a second. All right. I am being asked to register for free now, okay? Let me ask you to tell me, where is friction and anxiety in this top portion of the page? I'm going to give you those 10 seconds and give me new eyes. And I'd love to hear that. And Luke, if that was your page, thank you for being brave and submitting it. And I want to help you any way I can. I noticed that you said thank you there, and that may be your page that we looked at. I don't see these before I start. It's on purpose. All right, so now let's go. Here we go. I mean, I might glance at them, but we don't go through them. All right, so here we go. Healing Disaster Traumas and Fears. Where is friction? White font over clouds. That's tremendous amount of friction, hard to read, hard to understand. Good. White text missing in the cloud. It's hard to read the white text in the cloud. Somebody else said, it's an online event, or do I have to go to Europe to attend? Excellent question. It's hard to read the times, but too early. Now, too early is very important, so let's go back to my wife again. And you've heard me say this, but again, there we have it. Had I just met this girl and walked up to her and said, healing disaster, traumas, and fears. So let's take the equivalent of that into a conversation. It was at a friend's home. If I had said, single guy studying decision theory, will you marry me? Or marry me now? I'd have got in trouble. And if I'd have said that and said, single guy studying decision theory, available Friday night at 8, text me or give me your phone number so we can go out together, I would have had the same bad response. I married a Southern belle. She would not have been impressed with that approach. Register for free now. I know it's free to you, but it's not free to me. Nothing is free. That free engages risk. What happens when I click the red button? Anxiety. Am I going to be taken to a long process? Anxiety. Is it online? Anxiety. Is this just an upsell to something else? Anxiety. Register. Friction, friction, friction. Nobody woke up this morning and said, oh gosh, I can't wait to register for something. Register is work, painful, sterile, an ugly word, and you begin with that on your button. And you ask me to do that before I know anything. Who's speaking? How could it possibly be? It's a 2-hour web event. It says web event, so there we have that. Somebody said, is it? But it also has Rome and Athens, and that may be the times. And so I get the sense now that maybe if I paid more attention, I would realize it was on the web. But who's speaking? What are they talking about? Why would I register yet? When you ask too soon, you create friction, and the answer is typically no. Many of us have learned that. I'm trying to help you. Let's scroll down deeper on the page. Your mental health matters. It's a headline that anybody could say, and let's test that headline. How many types of websites could you put that headline on? You could put it on a You could put it on a, I guess CRC's rehab sites. You could put it on a site for a psychiatrist. You could put it on a site for a psychologist. You could put it on a site for a drug. You could put it on a site for a gym. Yes, talking about, fitness and health and how it helped. Like, that headline is meaningless. It does start with me instead of the company. That's great. But mental health, and how does that connect to the piece above? And how does that connect to what's going on today? Free healing webinar Thursday. Healing for what? If I am bipolar, do I get healed? It says natural disasters, illness, fear. These things are not new. Don't ever start by telling me the obvious. I know they're not new. Moreover, there's a long paragraph with no and by the way, I'm trying to help you. Please don't, again, I'm trying to help you think how a customer sees this. That headline is hard to read. You shouldn't have any text that long, and if you did, it shouldn't be centered. It should be left justified. It should be broken into bullet points. It should have bold in it to give you an eye path, and it should connect to what you said above and to what you say below. If that is of some help, I'm going to stop there and go to another place. But audience, is this making sense for you? Are you following with me? Let me get some feedback. Is this better for you than yesterday, using the way we're doing the annotations and connecting it to the heuristic pieces? I'm asking you because I want to get your feedback, and I want to make sure that we keep making this a better and better experience for you. Somebody said, what program are you using to mark up comments? What is it called? It's called Awesome something, right? Awesome Screenshot. It's a Chrome plugin. The funny thing is we built our own and integrated our heuristic in it, and I spent a lot of money on it. And then I saw this and said, forget ours. This is better. Just another one of the stupid things I've done in the last 2 years. I can make a long list of them if you'd like to know. In fact, one of my most popular articles is called The 5 Biggest Mistakes I've Made as a Leader. If you want to get a link to that, we'll be happy to send it to you. Just don't make fun of me when I see you in person. All right, good. Let's keep going. Sean, thanks for that. And let's keep going. All right, take me to another web page. He's going to save that. And with all the annotations, and then they're going to shift gears for me, and we're going to pull up another web page to try and help you. Why we're waiting for them, is anybody else finding out things we can do to help people that are in trouble? I've been wanting to help businesses. We're bringing together the businesses in our city that are struggling. We're going to try to give them some things that will help them get through this. We're also looking for a way to, help everybody that needs to get a better path, in terms of funnel in place. And you'll hear more about that as we go forward. But let's go now to this site and let's see if we can help these guys. So there we are. All right. I think that was really funny what I just saw. Go back to that page. Look at where let's start by suggesting that you don't put the play button on the poor girl's nose. It looks like a clown nose. I'm sorry. Am I just weary from 3 days of doing this and no sleep? But is that a lousy place to put the play button? I think so. Yeah, I think that's a mistake. And that's all. Let's move on to the next site. No, I'm kidding. All right, but I don't think that we framed the video properly. Friction and anxiety. All right, and so let's think about this. How do we help this group? Q International School. Learn English in beautiful San Diego, California. And if you submitted the page, tell us more. It may be that you're trying to teach remotely right now because of circumstances, and we want to help you. We want you to succeed. We are going to get through this. And frankly, we can learn so much together, this community that's coming together. We can learn so much along the way that when we come out of this, and we come out of the economic hardship of it all, wow, can we ever make a difference, and can we prosper and feel like we're doing meaningful work and developing meaningful relationships. But onto this page, Q International School. The first problem is the brand. I know it's cute, but it doesn't tell me enough. What does it mean? I don't understand it. Way over on the right-hand side is Learn English. Start giving me your thoughts. Wait a second, I see something from Luke. Sales advisor offering free consultation. Yeah, Luke, offer a free marketing consultation to small businesses in your area that are hurting. Bring them onto here and we'll try to help them. In fact, any one of you that knows a friend who really needs help because they're in a vertical that's suffering right now, if you will reach out to us in advance, we'll prioritize their web pages in the queue people that are hurting the most right now, I'd love to help. And if I have to, I'll do a marathon, like hours of it. But go ahead and let us know if you have somebody like in your community or another business friend, somebody you went to college with, or someone that you work with. Perhaps you're just a client and you appreciate them. If there's any way we can help them through conversion optimization and getting their message right, get them on this program with us and let us know in advance, and we'll do our very best to help you help them, okay? Now let's go back over here. So I see a brand, I don't know what it means. Over on the right, it says Learn English. That's good to know. And then it says Call Today and Talk to Our Admission Counselors. And then it goes straight to a video. Team, where is the biggest source of friction right here? Tell me the biggest source of friction that's on this section of the page. Don, you're right. Too much video and not enough text. There's no headline. There's no introduction. It's like if I'd have walked up to that girl 33 years ago who said yes to me after 1 year, 1 week, and 1 day of careful marketing. I proposed to her on the lawn of Castillo San Marco in St. Augustine. But it took a lot of work, a lot of micro yeses to get there. Had I walked up to her the first day, never said a word, and started playing a video of my summer vacation, I don't think she would have responded well to that either. What's going on here is you're forcing something on me before I am going to get enough information to decide to barter my attention. That is, to give you some of my attention. You've got to earn my attention, and you don't earn it by sticking a picture of a girl with a square on her nose right in my face, really big, and hope that I'm going to watch it. It's not enough. I don't know what the video's about. I don't know. That's friction. I don't know if it's going to be too long. That's anxiety. I don't know how loud it's going to play. And if I'm in my office or work or somewhere where somebody might hear it, that's even more frightening. I don't know what's going on this video. I don't know who's talking on this video. I don't know if this is like instruction in English or a testimonial video, a sales video. There's no value for the process level value proposition, that is, watch the video. There's no value for the primary value proposition, that's the company. So, the brand, you might mention that as you're making notes on the page. There's no value for the program until I've already decided to click away, because there's lots of places offering lots of similar services. And in the precious attention that I did give you, you didn't give me back enough value to warrant getting more from me. You're buying my attention with the first 4 inches of this page, and you gotta pay for it very carefully or you won't get any more. Does that make sense to everyone? So get a headline on the page, get a subheadline on the page. Tell me what's unique about your organization and why you're uniquely positioned to help me learn English. Then use the video to support your messaging. But don't count on the video. Now let's go back down. And I see the same, I'm just going to drop slightly to help them. They're a school. I want to give them a little more attention. All right? So Learn English, scroll down a little bit, in San Diego, California. It says that up above the phone number. I got the same thing I saw before. What kind of headline is that? I mean, I know what you do. I can learn English, but why would I want to learn it from you? If you're the only English teaching organization in San Diego, California, that headline might be awesome. Problem is, I bet you're not. And if you're not, what is there in that line to make me feel like I should pay more attention to you? And then it gets really hard to read under that because you got white on orange. We're all getting so fancy and clever with our text. People need to read it. Clarity trumps persuasion. Clarity trumps persuasion. Clarity trumps persuasion. Don't impress me with your art. Give me clarity. English is the international language. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad to know that. It's important for building a career. Really? How surprising. I didn't know that. But learning takes time. Daggone it. That's the one thing I was missing. And you need to build confidence. Now, if I'm sounding sarcastic, I'm not trying to be mean. Please know that I want to help you. It's just that you're wasting your breath, you're wasting my attention, you're telling me nothing, and you're actually treating me like I'm a child. You need to use that precious space to tell me something about your program and why it's unique and what I can learn and how powerful it is. Want to learn quickly and get confidence in your English speaking, listening, reading, and writing? Now you ask me a question. If I went this far in this damn page, you can bet I want to learn something because I'm motivated. Sorry to put it so clearly, but it's a bad question in the wrong place, and still you haven't said anything. If I got through the video and scrolled past it, I get to a headline that says nothing. I get to a paragraph underneath it that says nothing. I get to another paragraph that says nothing. And then I hear another truism. Your success in studying and building confidence is important to us. Folks, it's just way off here. Give me something concrete that demonstrates, first of all, exactly how you approach this, what it is you do, and then why you do it. So let's take my little diagram on the board, and let's help everybody who's heard this much think about your page with me, okay? So I'm going to erase the conversion heuristic and the cognitive calculus and the fulcrum and all of this so that I can start to think about what a page needs, okay? So think about it like this. Let's design. Over here, let's get some branding. This is branding, and the brand should imply your value proposition. Brand is an impression. The value proposition is a conclusion. The impression and the conclusion should agree. Very important. Done right, they create an expectation, and that expectation is where all the power lies. So from there, I need a connector, just like I would if I were to meet you at a conference or on a street somewhere, in front of my home, anywhere. This is my H1, and it captures my attention, which I'm going to abbreviate. It captures my attention, and number 2, it converts it to interest. So now I want to get into what's below, and probably what I need is about 3 and 2.5 lines. You could go a little longer, not more than 3.5 of a short paragraph, and some key bullets that get me into a conversation. And I wouldn't have more than 5 bullets. I'd probably have 3, and more importantly, all of this would be important enough and meaningful that it would buy a bit of momentum. And think of it like this. Think of that momentum as just like velocity. I'm starting to move through your message, and you're with me, holding my hand, anticipating what's going to come up in my mind. That's called the thought sequence. On the shortest possible page, you're going to do 3 things. You have identified up here that I'm in the right place. Am I in the right place? You've hinted at what I can do here. All in here. So let's just do 1, 2, 3. All right. Where, I'm going to just do where. So you can see it. I'm going to do what it is you do, and I'm going to do why. These 3 things are hinted at all in this section right in here. But now you really break what down. This is a great place for an image that does something almost no images do anymore. A diagram, a picture that really says 1,000 words, a picture that breaks down the key things that you do and makes it easy for me to understand. It may literally have lines on it like that. It may connect pieces and parts. It may show how it all comes together. But the point is, you can't really hit me too hard with why until I know what. If I were to say to you, right now, everybody on the air, I want you to be on the air tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. your time. And leave it at that. Some of you might do it. You know why? Because you have an expectation from what you might get from me. You might have a little equity, trust equity. I might have put some in your bank, and so a few of you might do that. But most of you are going to ask a natural question. Why? Why would I get up at 6 a.m. and log in? And if I don't answer the why, many of you wouldn't show up. Now, here's the other thing. If I tell you the why, but I don't tell you the what, you don't even know how to make sense of what I'm saying. So don't start selling so fast. Tell before you sell. Do you hear me? Tell before you sell. Give me the key what, then explain, and I'm literally going to have to, Cliff, I don't know if you can see the rest of the board. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do this. Let's assume that the page is going on over here. Okay? And so then after I get the what, now it would be flowing down, you'll get the why. This is the deep explanation of your value proposition. What comes after the why? A how. Here's how to take the next step. Boom. This is your CTA. Now, team, that is a vertical flow. It's dead simple. It's been around for about 3,000 years. You should read Aristotle's Poetics. It is how a page should work. And yes, you can vary it in many ways, but here's the point you really can't vary. Up in here, I need the what, and why, and maybe there's a problem that I'm addressing. Then I understand how you address it, that's the what. Then I get the why, and then I get the how. And that all of a sudden makes a difference. One caveat. If you don't even know you have a problem, I have to take a lot of time building it. If you feel the problem intensely, I just make it a little more acute. But somewhere in this what stage, I connect the what to the problem. So I'm going to put a P right here just to make sure that you know that. And then flowing down through the why and the how, you are getting people to move one micro yes at a time. The message is essentially pulling me up the funnel against gravity. That is distraction, competing offers, technology errors, against gravity towards the macro yes that makes me a customer. Does that make sense for all of you? And thanks, Dan, for that kind comment. And while you're thinking about what I've just said, let's go right over to Dan. A video can support, and you can learn with video, but right now, in most cases, there's always exceptions. Don't rely on the video only. It should support messaging that is in your text. I'm answering a question that has been submitted. I'm looking over here at universal companies. Universal companies, all right? Wow, the first problem is that name. What does that mean? All right, and without any branding explanation, listen, don't rely on words and a cute little mark. Say something right next to your brand that helps imply your value proposition. You know what they're saying with that brand? $3.99 shipping. Who cares about shipping when I don't know that I want to order from you? And by the way, nobody's going to read it anyway because it's in the friction zone way above the banner in what's called full banner blindness. It's the wrong thing to say. It's in the wrong order. Why do I care about your shipping before I care about what you have to ship? Think about it. That's what we're talking about right here. And then shop categories, shop brands. That's good. But where is there any text? There are three ways to, where is the value? Why shop anywhere here? What is universal companies? It sort of reminds me when I was a little boy, there was a Roadrunner. Do you remember the Roadrunner cartoon? And he had that, you know, he was always representing Acme this and Acme that. Acme was sort of the name of this company that could do anything. Universal companies and Acme, they seem about the same here. They are meaningless and there is no value prop. In fact, I see underneath it Moor Spa. Wait a second, are you a company or are you a spa? I don't even understand that. Does that mean that, you know, you can buy products at the spa is the product, the spa is just a little giveaway? By the way, if you want to have a spa experience, apparently it's $3.99 for free shipping. I guess they ship you to the spa. I'm being sort of jaded, because so is the customer. What does Moor Spa have to do with $3.99 in shipping? And like, how does universal companies, a very generic term, what does it have to do with a girl's face that's painted? So skin, bath, and body care that offers more. What does that mean? Is more a brand? And if it is a brand, are you doing a play on words? Beware of plays on words. I don't want double meaning. I want clear meaning. Hear it again. I don't care about double meaning. Agencies love to do that. Don't give me double meaning. Give me clear meaning. Clear, clear, clear. Clarity trumps persuasion. Dramatically revitalized skin with nutrient-rich Austrian deep, more essence, and ancient synthesis of herbs, plants. Okay, now, how does that connect to universal companies? Is this a category page for just one thing you have? None of this makes any sense. Is the brand Moor Spa? Is the brand universal companies? And skin, bath, and body care that offers more is not a headline. So we have a picture and lots of confusion. Fusion translates into resistance. Confusion is the enemy, and it's the inexcusable enemy. Confusion is the inexcusable enemy because any one of us can fix that. Maybe you don't have a perfect value proposition. Maybe it's hard for you. Maybe you have difficulty getting a big enough marketing budget. But we can all buy clarity with just the hard work that it takes to get our language simple and clear. I'm almost out of time. Wait a second. Over here is have a quick question. Chat with us or give us a call. We're happy to help. Our advisors can help. Now I've got advisors. Sounds like consulting. I've got Moor Spa. It sounds like a resort. I've got universal companies. It sounds like a GE engine factory. And I've got shop categories, shop brands, pro resources. What is a pro? And then I've got business services. How does that all connect? It probably doesn't in a way that makes any sense to a customer. So my honest, and I hope not too harsh, but genuine advice is start this page over. Get really clear about who you are, what you do, why you do it, how I can respond. Okay, guys, how are we doing? We're almost done. You've put up with me for yet another day. I don't know how you do it, all right? But here we go. Let's take one more and see if we can help them. I'll give them just a chance to save the annotations and help us there. And Sarvi, thanks for the kind word. I do appreciate it. I am really tired. And I'm really glad for this part of the day to be with people that are trying to grow. That's more important to me than most anything else. Just to grow and to help other people grow is sort of my life's work. Let's go over here. Oh, I saw Truebrow. Take me back to Truebrow. Now, I know these people, and that's Elle right there, and she's brilliant, and she is charismatic, and she's written an excellent book, and I think I wrote a foreword for it. She is in Australia, and she has a passion to help people build a business. But I'd like to think for a moment how we can help her, and I'd rather this not be all Flint. I got a bunch of smart people on here who are learning and participating. Some of you have been through our training. So let's scroll down and look at the page for just a moment in a little more depth. There you go. I've talked to Elle and her husband, and I know that they're all in. They really want to help people. There we go. Keep going. Scroll down a little faster. Is there content in that pink? Okay, so maybe there's something wrong with the screenshot, but it looks like a lot of space where there's nothing. We are here to train you to be the best at browse and the best at brow business. We recognize all right, so I see that. Scroll down a little bit more. It's a long page. Go a little faster now that I see. I think that's Elle and her husband. All right, and keep going. There we go. All right, let's scroll back up. Okay. So, team, what would you do to the top of this page to help it? They have their own sort of franchise-like system. I don't think it's a franchise to be technical, but it's like that. And so somebody says passionate is unclear and overused. Let's get other thoughts. I see Don. Let's help them with their headline. Perhaps we should start with the first word. What's wrong with the first word of the headline? Somebody tell me that. We can do a lot just with this headline. What's wrong with that first word? I'm watching over here for you to bring me a genius answer in the chat feature. I know you know it. I know it's coming. And I know we've taught it before. So wait for it. Wait for it. And I don't see the answer, but I believe you have it. So I'm going to go on in faith and tell you what I think the problem is. It begins with us. Not with the customer, but with the company. We help passionate women build high-performance brow businesses is a cool thing, but it's not the way to capture and buy my attention. And so the first thing I would do is I would focus not on who I am, but who you are and or what I can help you do. Now, it does say help, but what is the real outcome here? What do you really get from this business? I'd focus with that get, and then I would use the essence of that current headline to form your subheader. I.e., when you have a high-performance brow business, what's the payoff for that? I'd start with a payoff, and I'd make that the first emphasis of my headline. I'd make the headline point first, and I'd make it customer-centric. Then I would use a subheader. Right now, we're not using a subheader at all. I would use a subheader that talks about how you can achieve that through the brow business I think if I called it a franchise, I might get in trouble, but I don't know what else to call it, but the brow business model that they roll out with you and through you. Underneath that, I need to know a little bit more before I get to this big picture, so let's scroll down a second. I'm sure the video is super compelling because Elle is compelling, but I probably would support that with enough text to make me either be interested enough in the business to continue down the page, that's the primary value proposition, If you don't understand that, get in the value prop course. I'm going to teach it live, as I said before, or I would talk about the video and what's in it and why it's worth the next 48 seconds of your time. Essentially, you've got to either sell the primary offering or you've got to sell the video. And you should do it in a split that we call 70-30. I mentioned it yesterday. 70% of this page should be focused on one objective. You can split the other stuff up with the other 30%, but if you get away from that sort of golden ratio, what you're going to see is conversion drops. So I would say just the right things, either about the business or the video. If it was about the business I might move the video to the side, use some of that area in there to do this, but I got to get to it. Now, I have a feeling that the video is a compelling part of their offering, and it probably really works. And so I would suggest that I'm not telling you to de-emphasize it, but I'm telling you to give me more before you ask me to invest my time and click on that link. And I'll bet you some of that more is hiding further down the page. Does this make sense to other people right now? So get free training, see success stories. Now I have 2 evenly weighted options, and they may make sense after the video. But they don't make a lot of sense right now, and not everybody's going to read the video, and you're asking me right now to make a choice. Why would I click on either one of those when I've already clicked to get your page? Can I see that down below? Can I see success stories below? And if clicking on that drives me to that, why don't you just present me with that? And if you do, think of it like this, if you would. Suppose there's 2 doorways, and let's suppose that you are L, and you're over here on the sidelines watching. When people walk up to the 2 doorways, you don't just let them guess which door to go through, but you explain to them. You'd say, look, you have 2 doorways here. You can pick either one. Door A will take you here. Door B will take you there. Do what's best for you. Do you see how suddenly the voice of explanation is accompanying the voice of proclamation, and the explanation makes it easier? So you might have a headline and a subheader that says there's 2 ways you can work through our story, or 2 ways to discover X. You can do A or you can do B, but talk to me. Set it up so that I understand. Underneath that, you have some interesting credibility indicators, but what are they credibility indicators for? I still don't know the offer. I still don't understand enough about the value proposition in an articulated form to understand why the credibility indicators matter. I have to stop there. Hopefully this is the beginning of an answer that will help you, and obviously there's more work that needs to be done. Team, in the last 5 seconds you got quiet. Last 30 seconds you got quiet. I'm out of time for today, but can you give me some feedback? Do you like the annotations? Is the way we approach this beginning to help you? Would you like us to be doing some of these every week in a sort of a combination of teaching in one section, working through pages in perhaps another session, and maybe providing access to real training with certification in other sessions? Tell me how to help you the most in this tough time. And if you got a business that you know is struggling, bring them on here and we'll do our best to help them too. So, thank you. Thank you for trusting us, and I look forward to reading your feedback, and I want you to know that I am grateful, so grateful to be a part of this community with you.